Did you know that the Celts were among the most sophisticated and influential civilizations in ancient Europe, yet they left no written records of their own? Their secrets are hidden in the mists of history, whispered through the words of their conquerors. But what if we told you there's more to their story than you ever imagined? The Celts. The very name conjures images of fierce warriors, intricate knots, and mysterious Druids. Spanning vast swaths of Europe from the British Isles to Anatolia, they were a people of profound cultural depth and surprising innovation. But here's the twist: much of what we think we know about them comes not from their voices but from their adversaries, like the Romans, who described them as barbaric and unruly. Yet the archaeological record tells a vastly different tale, one of artistry, spirituality, and advanced societal structures. Today, we'll uncover the truths buried beneath centuries of misconception. Who were the Celts? What secrets does their civilization hold? And why does their legacy continue to mystify historians and captivate imaginations worldwide? Understanding the Celts is like piecing together a shattered mosaic. Despite their vast influence, they didn't leave behind written histories or records, at least, none that we've found. Instead, their story is pieced together through fragments, Roman accounts, Greek observations, and archaeological discoveries. But here lies the problem: these sources are often biased, portraying the Celts as little more than wild, uncivilized tribes. This leaves us with a critical challenge. How do we separate fact from fiction? How do we uncover the truth about a people whose legacy has been both celebrated and obscured? The Celts were a deeply spiritual people whose lives were intricately intertwined with their beliefs. At the heart of their religious practices were the Druids, who served as priests, scholars, and advisors. Imagine these enigmatic figures dressed in flowing robes, conducting ceremonies in sacred groves, their words carrying the weight of centuries of oral tradition. Druids were more than spiritual leaders, they were the keepers of Celtic knowledge. From astronomy and medicine to poetry and law, nature was central to the Celts' worldview. Trees like the oak, ash, and yew were considered sacred, often believed to house spirits or serve as conduits to the divine. Water sources, rivers, springs, and wells, were also revered, often associated with healing and fertility. Offerings such as weapons, jewelry, and even human sacrifices were made to these natural sanctuaries to seek the gods' favor. The Celts' burial practices reveal much about their beliefs in the afterlife. For example, high-ranking individuals were often buried in richly adorned chariots or graves filled with fine goods. The famous burial site at Vix in France contained a massive bronze cauldron and intricate jewelry, showcasing the importance of status and wealth even in death. These graves suggest a belief that the deceased would carry their possessions into another world, continuing their journey beyond this life. The Celts were extraordinary artisans, and their love for beauty and symbolism permeated every aspect of their lives. Their metalwork is especially striking, with objects ranging from simple tools to dazzling ceremonial pieces. Consider the torques, large neck rings made of gold, silver, or bronze. These weren't just jewelry, they were symbols of power and prestige, often worn by warriors, chieftains, or druids. Each torque was unique, with designs that included intricate spirals, knotwork, and animal motifs, reflecting the Celts' deep connection to nature and mythology. Weapons were another medium where artistry met utility. Swords and shields were not only crafted for battle but also decorated with intricate engravings and inlays of precious metals. A perfect example is the Battersea shield, found in the River Thames, adorned with swirling patterns and red enamel. This shield was likely ceremonial, showcasing the Celts' ability to blend functionality with aesthetic brilliance. Their art extended beyond metalwork. The Celts were master storytellers, passing down legends and myths through generations. These stories, later recorded in medieval manuscripts like the Book of Kells, are filled with tales of heroes, gods, and magical creatures. This oral tradition kept their culture alive long after their political power waned. Celtic society was anything but chaotic. In fact, it had a well-defined hierarchy that was both rigid and flexible, reflecting the balance they sought in all aspects of life. At the top of the societal pyramid were the nobles and warriors, whose roles were to lead and protect. Celtic warriors were famed for their bravery, often going into battle wearing little more than a torque, and their fierce reputation. Yet, their warfare was not mindless. Archaeological evidence shows they employed strategies and tactics that required careful planning and discipline. Below the warriors were the artisans, farmers, and traders, who formed the backbone of Celtic society. These groups contributed significantly to their economy and culture. Farmers cultivated grains and raised livestock, while artisans produced goods like textiles, pottery, and tools. Traders facilitated a vast network that stretched across Europe, exchanging goods like salt, wine, and fine metals. One of the most remarkable aspects of Celtic society was the role of women. Unlike many ancient civilizations, Celtic women enjoyed considerable autonomy. They could own property, initiate divorces, and even lead armies. Historical figures like Boudica, who led a rebellion against Roman forces, demonstrate the fierce independence and leadership qualities of Celtic women. This relative equality is a testament to the Celts' progressive societal values. The Celts were far from isolated tribes. They were active participants in the ancient world, contributing to trade, technology, and cultural exchange. One of their most significant contributions was their use of iron, which revolutionized tools and weaponry. The Celts were among the first to develop advanced ironworking techniques, creating stronger and more efficient tools that improved farming and craftsmanship. This innovation not only benefited their own societies but also influenced neighboring cultures. Trade was another area where the Celts excelled. They were skilled merchants, dealing in valuable resources like salt, which was crucial for preserving food. Their trade networks spanned vast distances, reaching as far as the Mediterranean. Celtic artisans also created sought-after goods, including intricately designed jewelry and weapons, which were exchanged for luxury items like wine and olive oil. Their cultural influence extended far beyond their borders. The Celts' art and mythology left an indelible mark on European history, influencing everything from medieval manuscripts to modern Celtic traditions. Even today, Celtic knots, patterns, and symbols are celebrated as a unique blend of beauty and mysticism. The portrayal of the Celts as barbaric and uncivilized stems largely from Roman accounts, which were written to justify conquest. But the archaeological evidence tells a different story. The Celts were not a homogeneous group but a network of diverse tribes united by shared cultural traits. Take their language, for instance. Celtic languages, like Gaulish, Brythonic, and Goidelic, were once spoken across vast swaths of Europe. Though many of these languages have disappeared, they formed the foundation of modern tongues like Irish, Welsh, and Scottish Gaelic, preserving a living connection to the ancient Celts. Additionally, the Celts' spiritual practices and connection to nature have often been misunderstood. Far from being primitive, their rituals reflected a deep understanding of the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Modern-day festivals like Samhain, the precursor to Halloween, have their roots in Celtic traditions, demonstrating the lasting legacy of their beliefs. Here's the game changer: recent archaeological discoveries are rewriting what we thought we knew about the Celts, challenging long-held misconceptions about their society. Take the site of La Tène in Switzerland, a sprawling settlement and ceremonial center discovered along the shores of Lake Neuchâtel. This treasure trove of artifacts, from intricately designed weapons to ceremonial objects, paints a vivid picture of a civilization that was both warlike and deeply spiritual. The craftsmanship found here rivals anything from ancient Rome or Greece, proving the Celts were far more advanced than the savages described by Roman chroniclers. Another fascinating find is the excavation of Celtic oppida, large fortified settlements spread across Europe. For example, the oppidum at Bobracte in modern-day France was a bustling hub of commerce, governance, and culture. Archaeologists uncovered evidence of sophisticated urban planning, including streets, water management systems, and workshops for artisans. These weren't mere tribal encampments, they were thriving cities that reflected a deep understanding of engineering and societal organization. And then there's the enigmatic bog bodies, human remains preserved in the peat bogs of northern Europe. Some of these bodies date back to the Celtic era, and their remarkable preservation offers chilling insights. Many of them appear to have been ritual sacrifices, their deaths intended to appease the gods or mark significant events. The detailed forensic analysis of their bodies reveals not only their final moments but also clues about their diets, health, and even the intricate tattoos they bore. One of the most groundbreaking discoveries is the Gundestrup cauldron, a silver vessel adorned with rich, symbolic imagery that many scholars believe represents Celtic deities and rituals. Found far from traditional Celtic heartlands, it's evidence of their expansive influence and perhaps even connections to other distant cultures. This cauldron is a visual storybook, showcasing the Celts' complex mythology and the reverence they held for their gods and nature. Lastly, advancements in DNA analysis have shed light on the Celts' origins and migrations. Genetic studies reveal that the Celts were not a single homogeneous group but a network of interconnected tribes with shared cultural elements. This challenges the old notion of a Celtic race and instead highlights their diversity and adaptability, which help their culture spread and endure across vast distances. These discoveries collectively shatter the outdated image of the Celts as disorganized tribes and instead reveal them as a complex, highly innovative civilization. They were engineers, traders, and thinkers, people whose contributions shaped the cultural fabric of Europe for centuries. So, what have we uncovered today? The Celts were far more than the barbarians described by their conquerors. They were artists, warriors, spiritualists, and innovators who shaped the course of European history. Their legacy, though often misunderstood, continues to inspire awe and curiosity. From their intricate art to their enigmatic rituals, the Celts remind us of the richness of human creativity and the power of storytelling. What do you think about the Celts? Do they still hold secrets waiting to be uncovered? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on more journeys through history's greatest enigmas.